Welcome to another edition of the Postgame Wrap. I'm Jared Johnson. And oh, by the way, yes, I'm wearing a Texas Tech basketball hat. You can get this at Red Ritter Outfitter. That's where I got it. Uh, Love Red Ritter Outfitter, always have. Even when I was a kid, used to shop there. Of course, uh, they're a sponsor of this YouTube channel, a sponsor of the Rockin' Pregame radio show. Been on for a decade, so big fans of Red Ritter Outfitter. But just being real, I love their hats especially. So check it out. But going to the game, 35-11 final, Texas Tech wins another road game against an undefeated opponent, which they beat by 24 points. Very dominant by Tech's defensive line, especially and defensive front. J-Rod at inside linebacker was amazing, though he only played in the first half. The offensive line was dominant at times, gave Barron a lot of time, and Tech rushed for 207 yards. So all the stats are very dominant from the Red Raiders again, but very sloppy game. A lot of drops early, a lot of penalties. I'm not sure exactly how many penalties Tech had 8 for 65, so not as bad as at Utah, but Houston's not as loud as Utah in terms of their stadium. I think there was a lot of reports on TV, a lot of people there at the game saying that there are a lot of Tech fans, so no surprise, at the game. Here's the thing. Tech is winning in dominant fashion. They were dominant at Utah. They were dominant tonight against Houston, which is great. But another good thing is they're not even close to reaching their potential with these mistakes. 2 missed field goals, left a lot of points on the board. A failed 2-point conversion. Like I said, a lot of drops, a lot of penalties. So sloppy play in a lot of regards. But again, dominant play. I mean, if Tech's normal teams of the past several years had played this kind of sloppy of a game, I think Houston would have won this game. And I got to give Houston a lot of credit for their defense on third down and specifically in the red zone. Really great job. I mean, from Houston, I thought they played better in terms of their defense against Tech than I was expecting. Though Tech did rack up 552 yards and 35 points. And they could have scored again, I think. I mean, Houston might have held them out. Probably not the way it was going and how tired Houston was at that point. Time of possession was way in Tech's favor, almost 38 minutes to 22 to Houston. Hot, muggy, H-Town, definitely. I think Tech probably would have scored there. But they took a knee, did the classy thing. Look, I definitely don't want to go uber negative because dominant team, 5-0 start, 2-0. They're going to be in the top 10. I mean, I didn't think that was possible just a couple of years ago for Texas Tech to reach these heights, to be honest. So great all the way around. But just the sloppy play, I think it has to get cleaned up. Kansas coming next week. Tech should be heavily favored in that game. But then Arizona State, that's been circled on my calendar or on the schedule for a long time this offseason. It's going to be a tough game. Team looking for some payback. But going back over this game and this win, Barron Morton was getting a lot of flack, but he finished 28 for 40 with 345 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. And a lot of those incompletions were drops. So ultimately, I think Barron played a good game, though he did miss some open receivers for sure. Jacoby Williams, that's my guy. 107 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also had a couple catches for 6 yards. Cameron Dickey almost ran for 100 as well. He had 98, and he had that 69-yard touchdown catch, which was a great read from Barron. Read the blitz, lofted it to Dickey, and Dickey did the rest. Dickey continues to look better and better each week. He did have that fumble. It was weird. I think he hit it on the ball in the back of Don Carlos Miller's butt. To be honest, I think it was like a butt fumble when JC was, or maybe it was Terrence Carter. I can't remember. It may have been Terrence Carter. One of the tight ends just kind of ran to the back of him. Ball popped out. But overall, obviously, Cam Dickey had a great game. He just continues, like I said, to get better and better. Coy Aiken had a rough start with a drop that probably would have been a touchdown on the screen. He also muffed a punt, but got away with it basically because of bizarre. That the refs were terrible on both sides tonight. Even the replays, like them replaying the obvious touchdown by Jacoby, but not replaying some of the other plays where it looked like Tech scored, made very little sense. I thought that call in Houston was nonsense. I don't really understand it. So the refs struggled, but again, Tech was so dominant. They're so dominant in the trenches right now. It really wasn't as big of a deal as it would have been with normal Tech teams of the past. Caleb Douglas had a good game, 7 catches, 114 yards. Reggie Virgil, had 4 catches, 45 yards. He was good. Carter had 3 catches for 26 yards, so not terrible for sure. They spread the ball around. Running backs were great. Jacob Rodriguez, mostly in the first half, had 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, an interception. I think they said it was some kind of chest contusion. Obviously I'm not at the press conference, I haven't heard anything yet, but I think it was some kind of chest contusion. I mean, J-Rod went back in the game after going to the locker room, I believe, and on 4th and 2 got a pass breakup, to end that drive. So I think he's okay. Man, David Bailey was just so dominant. 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, a quarterback hurry, a forced fumble. He also got held several times that were called, several times that were not. His helmet ripped off because former Tech offensive lineman Dalton Merriman just had nothing. He couldn't do anything with David Bailey. It was like Dalton Merriman wasn't there except for when he was ripping his helmet off when Bailey had already gotten past him. I don't know why Houston didn't double him other than you can't double everybody. Lee Hunter was a monster in the middle again. Skylar Gilhauer was good. Romello Height was fighting David Bailey for those sacks. He did a great job pressuring the quarterback. So really good job from all those guys. A.J. Holmes played well, had a tackle for loss, 4 tackles. Jaden Cofield got a tackle for loss, I believe, as well. So Brendan Jordan, he did give up that long pass, which was kind of fluky. The backup came in. Tech blitzed like a couple of guys, which I was kind of surprised to see. Maybe they're just kind of blitzing the new guy to try and get a quick turnover. So I get that strategy. But he threw, it was the best play for Houston all game. Threw a dart, the receiver took off. But Jordan got an interception, so he got that back. And he was kind of on an island there, but that was the play call. Cole Wisniewski, he was good. He had 4 tackles. I think he played solid. I'm trying to think about who else. I don't want to miss anybody. Ben Roberts had 6 tackles. He ended up leading the team. John Curry had 5. A.J. McCarty got more playing time because they moved John Curry to inside to replace J-Rod in the second half, and McCarty played. He actually had a good special teams play as well, but McCarty took Curry's spot at star and had 4 tackles, so he played well. I mean, the defense dominated. I mean, it's just the bottom line. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think this is going to be a dominant group. They might give up some plays in the passing game, but against the run. And like right now, they're forcing more turnovers or making more plays with their pass rush, certainly, than they're giving up in terms of big plays through the air. So the defense is as advertised and perhaps maybe even a little bit better. There was a stat that I think it was since the 50s that this is the first time Tech's won 5 straight games by 20-plus points. ESPN listed that. That's an amazing stat. Tech's going to be in the top 10 for the first time since, 2008 probably. I haven't looked at that. That's just a guess. I know they got to 10th, I think, in 2013 with that 7-0 start. With like Penn State losing to UCLA, which who could have predicted that? UT falling at Florida, which was a bit of a surprise, though it is the swamp. Tech should move up. Is going to move up into the top 10. It'll be interesting to see how high they go. It's very exciting stuff. We're starting to get to unprecedented territory the more we go throughout the season. I really thought Tech would blow Houston out, and they kind of did. I mean, I think I predicted 41-10. They won 35-11 and knelt inside the 10. So it was pretty close, but I'd really like to see Tech clean up some of those things, the drops and the penalties. I don't expect them to be perfect, but too many, in the last 2 weeks, 22 penalties? Tech can't average 11 penalties and really make a lot of noise, the kind of national noise I think they want to make at the end of the season. So they have to continue to work on that. And it'll probably be something I ask McGuire on Monday. But they got to prove it on the field that they could clean that stuff up. They put it all together. It's going to be crazy to see what type of score it might be. But bottom line, this looks to be one of the best Texas Tech football teams ever. They're so much fun to watch. Just getting to see a dominant defense at Texas Tech is kind of bizarre, let's be honest. But it's wonderful. The offense still has some things to work out, but you can see the two running backs figuring things out. Offensive line is definitely improved from a year ago. I give a lot of credit to Houston for playing tough and keeping Tech out of the end zone, a lot of those red zone jaunts, but I also think Tech was sloppy. So I got to clean that up, keep moving forward, and man. Oh, by the way, halftime show, Texas Tech picked up a 5-star commit. There's several stories. Mike Roach, who does a great job for 24/7 Sports, has a story. I have a free story posted on here on Inside the Red Raiders. But Jalen Brewster, 6'3", 300-pound defensive lineman, number 1 defensive lineman in the country for the 2027 class. Like I said, out of Cedar Hill, just a monster. One of those freaks that you see playing on the best teams in the country. And they use him as a running back a lot. And it's not just short yardage, but they use him. Put him in a wildcat, and they'll use him as a running back lineup in the shotgun next to the quarterback. And he shows a lot of agility and good vision for a guy his size, for a defensive lineman. But I definitely expect him to be utilized in that capacity at Texas Tech, as well as obviously defensive line. But quite the 2027 class they're putting together that I think is ranked 4th after the Brewster commit. Don't forget LaDamian Guyton, number 1 edge, outside linebacker edge in the country as well for the 2027 class. So, and a couple of other defensive linemen. Kadarian Redmond is a 4-star recruit out of DeSoto. Very, very good. They're looking to keep this, or at least starting a tradition of a dominant defensive line this year and looking to keep it going through the recruiting trail. So very exciting times. If you're a Red Raider fan, congratulations. Thank you for watching. And until